Hi guys, this is Kimmy Yanks and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Saturday morning here in Aachen and I'm just about to leave from my hotel here in Aachen City. Ready to head out to Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps and show you guys how it is to live out the Saturday at the 2023 Belgian Grand Prix. Well, it was not too comfortable a sleep for me. Hardly had about 5.5 hours of rest overnight. But yeah, I have been rushing to get ready and almost about to head out now. We have Carlos Sainz coming to the Paddock Club today, and it's going to be interesting because it'll be nice to hear his views about the qualifying yesterday and also about the prospects of the team as well as himself at the circuit today with the sprint race due later in the day. We also have the sprint qualifying happening today, which is a much shorter format of the traditional qualifying session, and it's called the SQ1, SQ2 and SQ3 sessions. And yeah, it is exactly the same format that the traditional qualifying uses with with 5 drivers out in the first session, 5 in the next, and then you have the top 10 shootout. So it's going to be an interesting qualifying with all the changeable weather conditions. There is more rain predicted, in fact a lot more than what it was yesterday, so hopefully I should be insulated enough for the rest of the day. Good morning from the circuit, and I don't know if it's visible to you guys, but it's starting to rain again, and yeah, it's not exactly the situation that you would want to see here, but it is what it is with the inclement weather here in Belgium. And you can see the Ferrari F1 Club. Well, it is empty because everybody's gone down for the pit lane walk. I have decided to stay put for now because it was quite a rush for me to run into the circuit, and I just made it in time for Carlos Sainz's interview. There was a lot of traffic, and we were going through village roads coming in from Aachen, so that really compromised my travel time into the circuit. And yeah, so right now, even though we are waiting for the pit lane walk to begin downstairs, I'm planning to go down to the paddock and try and get some more autographs and selfies with the drivers. But if the rain is going to play spoil sport, then I might have to stay put. So we are having the sprint shootout after this, which basically is the sprint qualifying. And the difference to the traditional qualifying is that the sprint qualifying is shortened. So Q1 is for 12 minutes. Sorry, SQ1 it is called. So sprint qualifying 1, SQ1 is for 12 minutes, SQ2 is for 10 minutes, and SQ3 is for 8 minutes. So it kind of keeps getting shortened with each passing session. The sprint qualifying will decide the grid for the sprint race, which is to happen later in the afternoon here. With the changeable weather conditions, things could look quite different in terms of the grid formation here for the race later. Anyways, I'm just about to sit and finish my coffee and croissant, and then yeah, let's see what the next order of the day will be today.
Welcome, thank you very much for coming up on a drier day than we had yesterday. Difficult conditions for a sprint weekend. We had a really wet session in free practice 1, not really enough running, and then straight to qualifying. Well, we've got 4th, so I was going to say how did it go, but it must have been in the seat pretty hair raising.
Yeah, it's been honestly one of the toughest weekends I can remember in terms of conditions and having to adapt so quickly to all the scenarios, and with very little running, and in such a tricky track like here, no? But it's been good fun, and it's been quite good for us so far. So yeah, cannot wait to see what today with the weather brings.
So guys, here I am back in the Paddock Club. In fact, my trip to the paddock was an absolute waste because it continued to rain heavily, and I was confined to the protection of their shed called the Paddock Lounge. Although I was able to get a selfie with Esteban Ocon, that's all I could manage in my 35-40 minutes that I was there. Anyways, this is the start of the sprint qualifying. Like I said, 12 minutes for SQ1, 10 for SQ2 and 8 for SQ3. Unfortunately, due to the weather and due to the rain, the start of the sprint qualifying has been delayed. I'm guessing it will be about a 15-minute delay to the schedule. So let's see how things pan out from here on. But yeah, Spa and its atrocious and changeable weather is posing a lot of challenges to a smooth running for the Formula 1 weekend.
Welcome, Diego. I was just telling everybody that you've got a bit of a job promotion, a long history in Ferrari, but maybe you want to tell everyone about your new role in Scuderia Ferrari.
Well, yeah, as you say, I'm old, so I'm in Ferrari since 23 years. And now I'm also covering the sporting side of our activity, so I'm basically the new sporting director, if you want. So I'm dealing with FIA for sporting matters, track management, race management, and so on. So today was quite a busy day so far.
I can imagine, yeah, I can imagine. So your new role, it's after you said, long history in Ferrari, 23 years. How does it feel to step up into this position now?
It feels nice. To be honest, in a part of my career from 2015 to 17, I was already covering also this side. Then I decided to stay a bit more factory-based, so shifting a bit more on factory-based activities. Now there was the need, there was the chance, the team has chosen me, and I'm happy to come back racing every weekend more or less.
So guys, I'm sorry, I'm actually speaking into my phone mic directly rather than using my DJI mic. I don't want to give up my spot here. And
that famous blogger? Background.
Yeah. So yeah, here I am. This is the grid formation right now. Everybody is actually getting ready for the start of the F1 sprint. 15 laps of flat out racing. Tire selection is going to be paramount and very, very important because the skies are overcast and we don't really know what the situation is. But something tells me that this might not be a dry race throughout. In fact, I can actually see drops of rain as I speak. So as you guys can see, the mechanics have the backup tires also in place just in case, something goes wrong. And yeah, it's going to be a very interesting F1 sprint. 15 laps. Apologies for my video on Friday where I said it might be 13 or 14. It's 15 laps to be precise. And yeah, we've got Max Verstappen pole again with Oscar Piastri in P2. Carlos Sainz was able to out-qualify Charles for Ferrari second row, followed by Lando Norris. And yeah, these top 5 guys I think are in the league of their own and should be able to pull away from the rest of the pack, the likes of Alpine and the Mercedes. Of course, we have a Sergio Perez who is out of position right now, starting behind Gasly and Hamilton there. So it's going to be interesting to see how he can make up positions and what he can salvage out of this F1 sprint, because with every passing race, his chances of a shout at the driver's title are growing bleak, are growing slimmer. So let's see what happens. Well, like I said, the conditions have been atrocious, and we can see the results right now. This was supposed to be the start of the F1 sprint, and everybody were on dry tires. The track was bone dry and the sun was out, but now suddenly we have had a complete change in weather. What started off with a light drizzle has now turned into a complete downpour, total downpour. So first the mechanics switched the drivers to the inter tires, but now considering the intensity of rain, they have now gone over to the full wets. Also, because of the change in the weather conditions, the FIA has decided to delay the start of the F1 sprint. As you can hear from my friend James Towers.
Just while the FIA made a decision on the time that it will get underway, I would assume that now that it is light sitting up, that we will get underway before 5:30. At the moment, race control has delayed the start of the sprint race from 5:12, and they will update us shortly.
So, like you overheard my friend James Towers, the MC at the Ferrari F1 Club, announced that there was an initial delay of 7 minutes to 5:12 local time, but now it's been further delayed indefinitely, or it's not indefinitely, but there's been a further delay. But looking at the state and the conditions right now, the rain has eased up in intensity, and we could be seeing the start probably in the next 10-15 minutes. That's my gut feeling. But you can actually see all the gazebos out there. The gazebos are up. The mechanics have been weathering the storm, you know, fighting against the elements, trying to protect their machinery, the tires, the driver, of course, and things are going to get quite feisty out there. Well, that is Spa-Francorchamps for you. Look at this. The sun's out. And right through. Right up till Blanchimont, actually. So the amount of rain that we had in the last 5-6 minutes might all get dried away very quickly, thanks to the sun. It's come out, and things could get really interesting here. I'm guessing the FIA has a very short window because they might be having more rain coming their way. So
20 minutes for the sun and then 20 minutes.
So, like my friend just pointed out, they have a weather prediction: 20 minutes of sunshine followed by 20 minutes of rain again. So, I do not know how quickly things could change here again, but the FIA have a very short window now to actually make a decision on what should be the right way forward. I don't know, it's really bizarre. But when the sun did come out, when the sunshine was there on the track, there was a huge roar from the crowds right and down in the stand. So let's see how things pan out, and here you can see to right up till the end over there in the stand. It is getting brighter, thankfully. The time right now is 5:23, and in the next 12 minutes we have our race start. I'm not so sure if the FIA has called it right by giving 12 minutes, but then I understand that, you know, the gazebos have to be dismantled, the cars have to be fired up again, and we also have a couple of drivers who are not sitting in their cars, like George Russell there. I think he went for a break. So some of them have to make their way back, get back into the car, refocus, settle in. And Charles Leclerc's Ferrari has been fired up and just being put through the revs. But yeah, we've got the mechanics working on the cars again. It's amazing to see the level of dedication, you know, that these guys have. Whatever position the team may be in, and you know, you have to give respect to each and every one of these personnel there on the grid, weathering the storm, standing through the inclement weather, protecting the cars, protecting themselves, and ensuring everything is in fine operational order, if I can put it that way, for the start of the F1 sprint. So, well, I don't want to say my money, but it's an open secret that Max Verstappen should be taking away top honors at the end of this F1 sprint. But yeah, with the changeable weather conditions and the capabilities of that McLaren in such weather, I would not say, oh, you actually have George Russell climbing through the gap and going to his car. Anyways, I'll see you guys again shortly. It's time to get ready for the F1 sprint. Welcome to the pit lane walk on Saturday evening. This is the second pit lane walk of the day and the final activity for today after what was a heavily drenched and rain-soaked Saturday here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. That is the pit exit, as you guys can see in this video. When the pit lane light goes green, that means the drivers can exit the pit lane onto the track. This is actually another place for practice starts, and now I'll actually be taking you guys through an entire walkthrough of the pit lane itself. So the garages line up in the order of how they finished the previous year in the championship. So Williams was unfortunately P10 in the Constructors' Championship, and they have the last garage, or rather the first garage at the pit exit. And as you guys can see, those are the two garages, one each for both the drivers. That's Logan Sargent and Alex Albon. Out here you have the fast lane, or rather the main lane, and there you have the pit box for the Williams boys whenever they need to pit for new tires or some other problems like a front wing swap or a steering swap, or something that can be serviced from the pit box itself. Further on you have Scuderia AlphaTauri, and we've got Yuki Tsunoda of course, and a new entrant in Daniel Ricciardo, who has joined the team after his duties as a reserve driver for the Red Bull Racing F1 team. Walking further on, we have the MoneyGram Haas F1 team with Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg. You can see the beautiful looking front wings of the Haas. I love the color scheme. Obviously, this is the evening pit lane walk, so a lot of guests are already on the way home. It's a fairly empty pit lane walk. Further on, we have Aston Martin. So, continuing on, I actually have a friend of mine who is an FIA scrutineer, and he is in the Fernando Alonso garage. In fact, if you guys were watching the sprint qualifying today morning, he was in deep conversation with the double world champion, former double world champion, and yeah, nice to see him after a very long time. Well then, following that, we've got Alfa Romeo, of course, with Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottas. Moving further on, you've got McLaren, who had a brilliant sprint race today. Kudos to them. Lando Norris was P6, Oscar Piastri P2. Of course, this was only a sprint, but well, for the team or the driver itself, it is actually a podium. So here you have the McLaren pit wall, and they have oh, we got a Checo supporter right there. Not really the best of the races for Checo there, but anyways, tomorrow is a new day and he has all the time in the world to rest, recuperate and come back stronger. Here you've got the gazebos. Let me give you a closer look at how the gazebos look. These were all in operation during when the rains hit the circuit on the starting grid. Right, continuing further on, we've got Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. Once again, strong showing by both the drivers. Pierre obviously finishing P3 in the sprint race. Great race for him, and again, you know, great base to build from. We'll be looking forward now and hoping to do even better. Then we have the kings of the turbo era. Well, even though their crown is being challenged, they still remain the kings of the turbo era. We've got Lewis Hamilton and George Russell right there, number 44 and number 63. Of course, the cars are missing because the cars are now in Parc Fermé, going through the FI scrutineering, and will return to the garage, I'm guessing later, or probably towards the end of the pit lane walk, like how we saw in Hungary last year. Finally, Scuderia Ferrari P4 and P5 for Charles Leclerc and for Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. They had quite a roughed up pit stop with, you know, all the other cars coming in between, but anyways, it is what it is. They were able to make do of whatever they could, and good recovery drive by both the drivers. Those overtakes on Sergio Perez were absolutely stunning. And finally, we've got the reigning world champion and his teammates garage here, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Of course, Sergio's car had that side pod damage after its contact with Lewis, and that cut short his race. Sergio will obviously be frustrated with what has transpired so far today, but then again, you know, he has time to recover from this setback. Finally, we've got the cars there in Parc Fermé. You can see the Haas, you can see the Alpha Tauri, and you can see the Aston Martins and the Alfa Romeos on the far end. So that is basically the end of the pit lane for you. And oh, how could I forget? That is the podium. Tomorrow there will be a driver on the top step, not just in Formula 1 but also in the feeder series like Formula 3 and Formula 2 and the Porsche Super Cup, celebrating their victories at the end of the day. And of course, tomorrow is the main event, the showstopper, where we'll have the maximum attendance. So that is basically the end of the pit lane here. And if I can show you guys, there at the far end you've got the safety cars as well as the medical car sitting nicely in the garage. And yeah, this was basically a very quick pit lane walk or a pit walkthrough at the Belgian Grand Prix. Guys, the time right now is almost 8:15 in the evening. Of course, the sun hasn't set yet on Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, but here I am walking just towards the support race paddock. Of course, I know everyone would have left for the day, but I just thought that this would be a good time to show you guys how the support race paddock looks, and yeah, just the layout of the thing itself. Obviously, my plan is to come down again tomorrow and see if I can meet Jack Doohan and Mick Doohan. Jack had a brilliant sprint race today. Started in P11, of course. The qualifying was a fiasco because only 2 drivers were able to set representative lap times, and then the weather just played spoil sport for practically everyone. So Jack started P11 and charged through the field to finish a brilliant P6. It was more like damage limitation today. What happens tomorrow with the changeable weather conditions? Could the safety car play a role? Could strategy be very important? Could tire choice make all the difference? We'll know very soon tomorrow in the first half when the F2 feature race kicks off. So yes, while I'm walking through the support race paddock, this of course on the left is the Formula 2 section, and on the right we've got the Formula 3 section, which is not immediately visible right now but will be visible soon enough. While I'm walking through the support race paddock on the left, you can see the trucks, the team trucks, also the trucks used by the drivers for as their motorhomes, plus for the brief, the debriefs as well as the pre-race discussions. You can see the Invicta Virtuosi team truck is now locked, which means that there's no one inside. And yeah, this is Stanek and Clement Novalak of Trident Motorsport. Walking further on, Prema's, the Campos Racing. Of course, Campos has Kush Many racing in it. And then you've got the MP Motorsport with Racing for Delano badges all over the trucks in honor of a young racer who lost his life here in Spa-Francorchamps a few weeks back. And then, of course, you've got one of the most successful teams of Formula 2, Prema Racing. Walking further on, well, that's the FIA Centre. Of course, it's much smaller, not makeshift, but much smaller centre for the weighbridge. Of course, there you can see the weighbridge, and the drivers will come here normally to get themselves weighed after a race. And then this side you actually have a view of the end of Eau Rouge going into Radillon. And here you have the Champions Club Eau Rouge section. And this is the classic cars garage, historic F1 cars. I'll show you guys this later on Sunday when they'll be getting ready to get out on track. But we have a 1998 Benetton, which is still there, of Alexander Woods. And on this side we've got the Arrows as well. You've got the 1987 Arrows, you've got the Fittipaldi car there, you've got the Hesketh. Of course, we all know who drove that in 1977. A certain British racer called James Hunt. And then you've got the 1999 Arrows here in its Lotus livery. So yeah, really cool cars out here. You've got the Cooper, 1959 Cooper. And I'm a big fan of the Ligier as well, but the Ligier is right now under wraps, so can't really see it. But walking further on, I'll show you guys what the F3 paddock looks like too. That's the Hesketh. Taking photographs while I talk to you guys. And very quickly I'll show you guys from afar what the F3 paddock looks like. If I do get the time, I will do a proper walkthrough, because now the garages are all under wraps and it doesn't really make sense to add more time to this video, because it would eventually become redundant, because all you'll see is a truck or a motorhome with a covered garage next to it. But anyways, this is how the F3 paddock looks like very quickly. Like I said, everything is under wraps, so there's not much that I can show you guys right now. Finally, as I make my way back to my hotel, in fact I need to get back to my pickup point, and then from there it is a drive to our hotel. Obviously it's not going to be an easy one because there's a lot of traffic around, but I will talk more once I am back in the comfort of my hotel room. So I'll see you guys very shortly. Guys, I'm back in my hotel room here at Novotel in Aachen City, and it's been quite a long day at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. The time right now is almost 11:30 in the night, and I have to head to bed ASAP because I have an early morning start on Sunday. The Paddock Club opens at 8:15, so my aim is to leave from here at about 7 so that I can touch the circuit and reach the Paddock Club latest by 8:30, 8:45. Yeah, been a very long and tiring day, more because of the weather and the rains rather than the walking, because the rains played havoc throughout the day and jeopardized a lot of the content creation that I wanted to do and show you guys from the circuit itself. Yeah, not much more to add to this video except the fact that it was interesting to meet a lot of people today and get some autographs for some special people as well. And yeah, other than that, I just hope that I have been able to show you guys whatever I could. Apologies if I could not show you something that you guys wanted to see. Tomorrow is the big day, of course, the showstopper, the main race, and the sprint race was quite good, except for the fact that there was such a lot of confusion over the correct tire choice and the timing of the pit stop too. Well, for Max it was easy peasy because he was able to retake the lead from Oscar Piastri. Great performance by Oscar to take P2 there, and Pierre Gasly, who would have thought that he would finish P3 in an Alpine on one of the toughest weekends for the team. More not on the track but more so off the track, from all whatever they've been enduring over the last 35 hours. It's been crazy. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Do let me know in the comment section what you think of this video, and if there is something that you want me to cover in the future, and if I do have the access to, I most definitely will. I will be leaving the links to my other social media handles in the description below, so if you guys want to connect with me there, you can definitely do so. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you so much for all the messages that I get on Instagram as well as on YouTube itself. Take care, guys. This is Kim Yang signing off. Stay safe and have a lovely weekend.